If you're watching this, you're probably watching a VOD, so welcome to the VOD. You might want to skip ahead a couple of minutes. Because it's actually just going to be me sitting here, probably eating an energy drop bar. If you're watching this, you're probably watching a VOD, so welcome. Amateur mistake. Alright, we're back. Alright, so let's cast some games. Feel free to join the channel Fear Dragon if you want to be casted. Otherwise, I'm just going to be casting AI! Haha! On the best maps I can find in the map pool. This is my dinner. What does Arid Plateau look like? Nah. Crossfire? Man, I haven't seen that map in a long time. I wonder what computers do if you play on a novice map. Novice maps with the destructible rocks. Oh man, Entomb Valley. Why wasn't Entomb Valley in the Dream Pool for voting? That was a good map. Okay, I found my map. Let's do this. Novice Kulas Ravine. Let's have a little fun with this. Let's see. Let's start off with a Terran, a Protoss, and a Zerg on Kulas Ravine in FFA. How does that sound? That sounds fantastic to me. Alright, Terran. I'm gonna put you on any build. I'll leave them all on any build so we won't know what the heck is gonna be happening with them. Drink some water and get this started. Welcome anyone that's actually tuning in right now. Just gonna be doing some chill casting, nothing too specific or anything. If you do want to be casted, feel free to join the channel Fear Dragon. Preferably come with like a friend or something, or someone that you know you can face off against and be on equal footing with. But until then, I'm just gonna cast AI because AI are the most unpredictable people ever. Let's go ahead and jump into it, and whoa, oh my god. My overlay is totally broken, ladies and gentlemen. We're gonna be spawned down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map on top of the blue Protoss player, representing no team because he is an artificial intelligence elite. It is the Protoss. And his opponent spawning up here in the top right-hand corner of the map of Kulas Ravine, Novice Kulas Ravine. It is the Teal Zerg player, AI Elite number 2. And his opponent, because we know how to count here, it is the Red Terran player, AI Elite number 3. No, wait, number 4. What? What? Why is this number 4? Hold on. Number one. Number one. Number two. Number four. What the heck is that? Okay. Well, regardless, guys, we definitely do not have a UI that's actually conducive to casting an FFA. So we're just gonna roll with the fact that I can't actually see that. Hey, what's up, Stone Spider? APM 0. APM is 0 for everybody. Actually, does this update? No, I can't get to show the AP. Hold on, there should be an APM tab somewhere in here. M. Wow, that's astounding. These are elite AI, ladies and gentlemen. Alrighty. Well, we take a look. This is, in fact, an FFA with 3 AI elites. And I'm going to avoid selecting things because this just looks really, really weird. And I guess this information is accurate, I suppose. But regardless, we can see that this is, in fact, Novice Kulos Ravine. It is one of the few maps available for free-for-alls in StarCraft 2 on the official StarCraft 2 free-for-all ladder. I bet you guys forgot about that, because I sure didn't. I try queuing up for that every so often, and it takes me a couple hours to find a match. And usually I end up killing off like 1 or 2 people, and then the last guy has like 50 Void Rays, and I'm like, well, I'm so glad I invested the time killing off these other 2 people to lose all of my stuff in my main base. But AIs, we don't know, man. These guys can do anything. They don't actually have any kind of special strategies, but whoa, actually, there is, in fact, I forgot about this, your in-base natural expansion on Kulos Ravine. This actually used to be a ladder map. Why wasn't this in the map pool for, like, a dream pool? That would have been amazing. I mean, look at it, just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I mean, you pop your Reapers up, your Blink Stalkers, you pop your Blink Stalkers up, and oh my god, this map, Blink Stalkers, I just realized why they didn't have it in the dream pool. Oh god, that would have been absolute hell. But hey, Stone Spider, you know, it's awesome to have you here. I'm glad that you were able to catch something. And yes, it is being played by computer ghosts, but you know, we'll see what kind of meta level strategies that these ghosts have. It's really hard to actually get an idea for supply counts right now, which is going to make this even more awesome for me, because that just means I have to be way on top of all my observing skills today. And we do have 3 production tabs, which is quite strange to see. But we have the early Zergling coming out for the AI Elite number 2. The Zerg AI, and of course, he's not going to be using this to take out the rocks. No, he's going to use these to make sure he has control, almost control, of the Xel'Naga Watchtower. He doesn't want to actually have control of the Xel'Naga Watchtower, because that would it'd just be too much right now. He doesn't need that much scouting information right now. He just wants to be close to it, make sure nobody else controls it, and there we have it. Now we finally feel safe grabbing that same, and actually, of course, this AI, the Protoss AI, saying, you know what, I can sacrifice a little bit of my economy to grab that Xel'Naga Watchtower to scout out this. He wants to make sure that nobody's been able to 6-pool the rocks and then grab the gold expansion. So, you know, very, very meta level play coming out from our Protoss AI. Of course, I would say that the safest AI right now is, in fact, the Terran AI, who has taken his own natural expansion. I'm actually really happy to see that all of these AIs have identified that this is a Novice Rocks map. So they've said, well, I'm just going to take a fast natural expansion. All of them have actually done this, which is actually pretty impressive to me. But Robotic Facility now down for our Protoss player. He's going to be grabbing a couple of additional gateways. Playing this out, honestly, pretty normal, I would say. This isn't actually the most crazy thing in the world. It's basically a 1-gate expand with a Robo out as well. And I say that the Protoss AI probably plays the most standard out of all the AIs that I've seen. Terran AI, I think he went for a 1-Rax expansion, then goes up for a factory, followed up by the 3rd barracks, 2nd barracks being added on at some point as well, and he's just going to be making Marines. So, I mean, nothing too crazy. What's really kind of perplexing me is this. I don't know what this AI is planning to do. He has these units that he could be killing off the rocks with. Is there any incentive to not killing off these rocks? Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to hear any kind of alternative thought process for that. And actually, in fact, he is let go of that Xel'Naga Watchtower once again. I mean, he's going to make all these units, but he's not going to actually grab the Xel'Naga Watchtower. Meanwhile, we had the Protoss player who was grabbing the Xel'Naga Watchtower with a probe that actually had something better to do. But now that he has units that could grab the Xel'Naga Watchtower, no. We need these Blink Stalkers here ready for when Blink finally comes up, but he's not even researching Blink. This is honestly like the best. Forget about Cloud Kingdom, forget about like all of those other amazing Blink Stalker maps. This is the map for Blink play. this natural expansion, you even have the ability to blink into the main base if there were these destructible rocks or some kind of wall in over here or whatever have you. Man, this is a great map for Blink, but I'm not going to be seeing any of that. Actually, a second robotics facility coming out. I think I've actually seen this is getting so ridiculous. I'm starting to learn artificial intelligence builds and what they do. This is going to be a big 2-base Colossus push coming out from our blue Protoss player. We'll see how well he'll actually be able to make this work. He's getting a lot of stalkers up, but again, none of these players are knocking down these rocks. They just actually do not want to lead the base, but actually we might have our Red Terran player deciding to lead the base. He has the medevac scouting around the corners of his base. I guess that's actually kind of cool. And now it's just doing test flights, guys. This is basically that big, you know, that they have those Air Force pilots that actually just fly around random big cities and they kind of ooh and awe everyone with their big like trails of smoke and colored smoke, and they do all kinds of crazy maneuvers. That is what this medevac thinks it's doing, except it forgot the smoke before the flight. It's saying, you know what? I forgot the smoke, but this is what I was hired to do. This is what I'm getting paid to do. And this medevac pilot is just like, I forgot my smoke too. I'm just gonna chill over here. But regardless, pretty decently sized army over here for our Terran player. And actually with the siege tanks, he's gonna be able to really good position to actually start taking out, once he does take out these rocks, he's gonna be able to easily grab this third expansion. I mean, this third expansion, yeah, there's these rocks over here. In case you're not too familiar with the layout of Kulos Ravine, there are some backdoor rocks to your third expansion, as well as a high ground above it. This is actually a very scary high ground if your opponent takes out one of these rocks, and then they move up here to your third expansion above it and start sieging it up with whatever units they have. Because then you can't just go up to these rocks and take them out very easily. You have to go all the way around, back down around over here, and go up these rocks, and then try and deal with that sieged up unit positioning. But actually, yeah, Terran player gonna be the first one to wait. How did? Oh my God! Did he just elevator an SCV to the low ground? Okay, this Red Terran AI number 4. Clearly the smartest of all of the AI that we have around here. So big props and shout out to our Red Terran AI player for having some degree of intelligence, whereas our this guy, okay, he has all of these units in preparation for a drop or air tech from the Protoss player, and he's just gonna leave 4 roaches trying to eventually take down these rocks. He is going to get these rocks down very soon, at least, and he's teching up like crazy. Oh my God, infestation pit going up. He's gonna be able to get a hive tech pretty soon, but where's our Protoss player sitting? Protoss player is just taking out those rocks with all the zealots over the or in the main base, I should say. And look at this immortal count. This is actually looking to be, I would say, the scariest of the armies we've seen so far. I mean, yeah, these siege tanks and the Marines and the Marauders, they're gonna be actually a pretty decently sized force, but I mean, nothing in comparison to the Protoss army right now, I have got to say. And even has a couple of sentries mixed in. I would love to see some Guardian Shields coming out. Rocks remind Zerg of their home. That actually may well be true, maybe. I'm not sure. I guess Char was a pretty rocky, volcanic place. So I guess volcanoes do yield a lot of rocks. That's a good point, Stone Spider. Finally, the first scouts coming out for both these players, both the Protoss and the Terran player. Get this guy off on the Zerg player. And actually, there's another probe scout out on the map. Wow, actually, he's... Wait, what? AIs know how to take hidden expansions? That is... What? What is it? Okay, are the AIs just actually confused about where their third expansions are on this map? Do they actually just not know that there's a third expansion they could easily take? I mean, AI number 4 realizes this. AI number 4 even realizes, hey, there's even a gold expansion as an easy to take 4th expansion I could take. But apparently the other AI are not aware of this fact. They're actually taking each other's third expansions. What on earth? Okay, at least the Protoss one, it's like a hidden expansion. This one's just not gonna... Okay. Zerg player is now moving out for no. Zerg player is retreating back home. He's just gonna let this... He's gonna let this finish. Okay, this AI knows. This AI knows about this third expansion. He could quite literally move about 5 feet this way, just like this far in, and his stalkers would then be killing off this expansion that's being taken. The stalkers, It's getting so close. The probes have pushed it a little bit further, but it's not. Oh my god, he is Maynarding these probes across the map. He's taking a hidden. Okay, this is not a hidden expansion. This is actually just a ridiculously stupid expansion. Okay, I get. Doesn't AI even realize what this means? This probe transfer? Does it? I guess he should, because he's doing the exact same thing. He's transferring his own drones across the map to mine at his opponent's third expansion. When exactly does the Protoss player decide, oh, well, you know, there's creep outside and a hatchery over here, and I see drones. Maybe I should go kill this off. What does it take for an AI to decide it's time to kill us? Oh, a stalker has been pushed into range. A stalker has been pushed into range. He gives up. He just gave up. Alright, well, it looks like we may actually have a battle ensue over here, as the entire Zerg force is starting to move down over to that third expansion. Infestors included. Infestors actually gonna be the trigger. The Protoss player now saying, now it is time to engage. I see units that are actually a threat. The Infestors actually starting to go down after they've lobbed out those infested Terrans, but they really didn't do a whole lot. Archon's also getting in the mix. Force Eagles throwing down at, I don't know why. They actually aren't really helping out too much, but the Protoss player has more than enough to win this engagement, and with it is going to go down that third expansion. If the Zerg player just waited a little bit longer, nothing would have happened. But now we have the Protoss base actually under siege from this small little squadron of Terran army. It's going to be able to eventually start denying mining over here. If he decides to actually move in and kill off that photon cannon, I believe 2 Marauders and 2 Marines should be enough to kill off the photon cannon. But Protoss finally taking out that third. Congratulations. Wow, that was actually a pretty baller force. Fields traps in 1 or 2 more drones over there. But Terran player is now trying to move in over here. The Protoss player honestly just completely in control of this game. Look at units lost right now. Zerg player clearly lost the most, but the Protoss player has actually killed a good bit. I wish there was like a units killed tab or something, so we could just see how much damage the Protoss player has been able to do. But Overseer has speed. It is now moving around, getting a good scout off, and oh, that's where your third expansion is. That's why you didn't take this third. Let me go ahead and take that again. What? The AI is so confused, but at least he's been able to take his own actual third expansion. In the meanwhile, Protoss player is also taking a fourth expansion over at the gold for whatever reason, but at the same time, we have a big engagement over here. Oh my god, the Terran player is actually decimating this Protoss force. Immortals may be able to make it out, as it looks like a stim only happening every so often. He is not gonna stim up again for this Immortal, and it looks like the Immortal gonna have to retreat on home, but is there a whole lot of backup? Oh, you know what? The Zerg player may be able to buy the Protoss player some time by throwing up this third expansion in clear vision range of both of these players. No cancel forced out on that. No, don't just ignore the fact that they actually have infinite APM. Look at that APM. Couldn't afford the cancel though, just not important enough right now. And we are just seeing action all around the map right now. Overseers scouting around like crazy. The Zerg player has absolutely a shit army. Let's be honest, this is absolutely a terrible army right now, but at least he has 2/2 upgrades. That's actually pretty good. Terran force now trying to sneak in this, or sneak some aggression in over to this hidden Protoss, the third expansion. I don't even know what to call it anymore. He's gonna end up losing this expansion to the Marine, Marauder, Hellbat, Viking, Raven, Widowmine, Medevac, Siege Tank Force. The very standard composition that you go for at the 20-minute mark as a Terran player in the TVZVP matchup. And these probes are likely going to be losing their lives. I say likely, but it's not exactly guaranteed right now, just because sometimes AIs just decide, you know what, it's not worth moving in the extra couple of meters to go kill off the rest of those forces. But yes, he is going to be able to get those forces killed. And oh my god, the Zerg player is once again trying to expand to this expansion. And actually, his expansion is being killed off. But no, he's committed to building this extra gas geyser. Where is the beautiful drone? I want to see, where is that drone that is trying to build that gas geyser? Because he is quite the trooper. He is not discouraged by anything whatsoever. And well, it actually looks like he got killed off or got canceled, but Hydra's actually going to be able to do some nice damage over here. The Protoss did lose a lot of its army to that Terran ball, and You know what? The Zerg player actually decides to engage this directly as he finally is starting to do. He's going to be able to kill off the remainder of these forces, and honestly, what is there to defend back at home? Well, there's 2 photon cannons. It's actually going to be able to delay the Zerg player for a good bit of time at least. But Zerg player, okay, Zerg player just deciding not time to attack, but Terran player is actually deciding to move in. Oh no! Zerg! Oh no, Teal Zerg needs to back the heck out of there. He realizes, yeah, okay, if you want to kill off this base, that's fine. You go for the base. I'm just retreating out of here. I just wanted to try and defend my 3rd expansion. I failed to defend my 3rd expansion. That's it. That's all I had. That's all I had time for. Now the Terran player, he's going to be able to siege up on top of these photon cannons without taking any damage on any of his units, theoretically, but he's not going to be doing something that smart. He's an AI. He's just going to be going for it and takes out those photon cannons. And yes, welcome Genobot. This is in fact 3 elite AI FFA on Kulos Ravine, the novice version. They had to take out the rocks. We didn't want them rushing each other. But now we have a big problem over here for our Protoss player. He has a handful of units over here, has 2 warp prisms that are not really doing a whole lot of good, and a giant Terran force that has just expanded all across the map, getting planetary fortresses up and murdering the Protoss player. And honestly, I think this might actually just be like the deciding moment right here. The Protoss player is going to get absolutely demolished. He's getting crushed right now. Siege tank sieged up. I guess in a defensive position to make sure the Zerg player doesn't like come in and flank him or something. But at the end of the day, the Protoss player is going to get completely cleaned up. He's pretty much dead at this point, bar this gold expansion that's trying to mine. But the Zerg player is also not exactly in the best position right now as either is. The Zerg player is honestly in StarCraft 2, just they don't really go for cost-effective compositions. They like to get a sprinkling of banelings. They get to get a couple of Hydras, a couple of Zerglings, a couple of Roaches, some Infestors, some Mutalisks, some Corrupt. Like, that doesn't really work very well as a Zerg player. You want a lot of some core units and then some backing up supporting units like the Infestors, or, you know, maybe some backing up supporting units like the Corruptors. Take out some kind of Colossus composition or Medivacs, etc., whatever you have you. But not really going to be the case for this Zerg player, and he's actually going to have a lot of trouble against this army. You can just feel it. Unless this Terran player, and I guess it's true, the Terran player, I've never seen an elite AI split Marines versus Banelings, so that could actually be a problem. That could actually be a really big problem. If there are enough Banelings coming out for our a Zerg elite AI, he may actually be able to kill off that army. Once he kills off that army, I mean, he's going to be able to expand to this entire side of the map. Granted, these 2 expansions, the main base and the natural expansion, have been taken or killed off many times. This expansion is still fresh, and we can tell this AI really wants to take this expansion. He's getting a little bit overeager over here, as now he's going to force all of the siege tanks to siege up to kill off this one hatchery, and now they can unsiege, now that that has been dealt with. But, oh no, actually all the Banelings detonated on this Nexus. How many Banelings are actually left over? That was going to be the saving grace for the Zerg player, but honestly, with all those Banelings killed off, only 8 Banelings left over. Oh man, the Zerg player are going to be in a lot of trouble. He's getting close to being maxed out though. Has a decent amount of army supply, not too many workers. Actually has less workers right now than the Terran player, sitting at 70 workers. Let's take a look at the income tab. As we have a dead Protoss player. This is actually the killing. This is actually the semi-killing blow. Unit-wise, we have no units, but he has a single pylon out on the map that will eventually get killed off, I imagine, hopefully, at some point. But the Terran player, he is looking to be in a dominating position. The Broodlords, though. The Broodlords, okay, I was talking about Banelings being a nice choice just because I've never really seen a Terran AI split against Banelings or units like that before. But with this many siege tanks, I actually don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think that's going to actually be the saving grace. What will be a saving grace is Broodlords. Broodlords could actually completely mess with the AI for a Terran player, because the Terran's likely not going to be unsieging these siege tanks. He's likely going to see the Zerg, siege up all those siege tanks, and then murder all of his own units with the siege tanks because of splash damage. And of course that pylon did get taken out, so our Protoss player has been eliminated. Protoss is in fact declared to be the weakest race. Confirmed. David Kim, please buff. SCV is loaded up into the planetary fortress. I guess that will save them for a little bit before they get taken out. Okay, well, we have a base trade, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how well this is going to go for our Zerg player, considering he just does not have as many units, and nor does he have that big of a bank right now. Whereas the Terran player, I mean, he's sitting on a massive bank. Look at that, 11, almost 12k minerals, 9k gas. I mean, he doesn't exactly have the production capabilities to actually produce a lot out of these, out of that huge bank, but I mean, he is producing units as he loses them. He's going to be able to use those to defend, potentially. Well, he's sending some of his units to deal with some of those Zerg units. And honestly, there's not a whole lot of Zerg left. So right now, this is looking pretty grim for our Zerg player. Terran's now moving in. We may actually have to call this GG just because AIs are really bad at calling GG. They're actually terrible at it. As we can see, the Protoss AI is technically never actually a GG out of here. But oh my god, some actually a pretty good engagement over here, all things considered, from our Zerg player. The Broodlord doing a good bit of damage, but the Marines finally coming in. They are going to be able to clean up that Broodlord, and they're going to be able to clean up the Corruptors. And with that, they're going to be able to move in and finally clean out the remainder of this Zerg base. Focus firing down the Hive. I guess AIs do go for the most expensive tech structures, but actually not a whole lot of medevacs in the mix. I can just imagine a couple... If Banelings didn't have to change or come from Zerglings, they could just pop out a larva. Oh my god, that would just be so beautiful right now. Just popping out, immediately detonating all these Marines and Marauders, instantly killing them all. That would be sick plays for our Zerg player, but unfortunately that is going to be it. I'm going to call it over here as we have natural expansion mined out. This third expansion will get up. I actually, for once, I think this might actually be the first time this expansion would actually be able to get up and probably start mining. But we're not going to sit around for that. GG gets called, and our Terran player is going to come out victorious. Congratulations to our elite Terran AI for spawning on the best side of the map, where he could literally just take the entire map. And that was actually a thing. That actually just happened. So that was actually just some fun games for welcome anyone that's actually now tuning in. That was in fact 3 AIs playing an FFA. But that was kind of just me prepping up and saying, you know what, guys, I'm just going to be doing a chill stream, just going to be casting some games wherever I may find them, and it just so happened that I found an AI game. That was the easiest one to find. What's up, Try Thrice? Protoss underpowered, I'm just going to say. I mean, proven. Blizzard wrote these AIs themselves. They are the most balanced AIs possible. We can't guarantee that like any particular skill levels for players are going to be the same, but with AI, I mean, it's pretty much guaranteed, right? That's why Blizzard would write them that way. Never give up, never surrender. Yeah, he kept taking that Toss expansion. I don't know what was up with that. But actually, let's take a look at /r/cast it and see if we can find something fun. Cast it, spelled with a T. Well, I guess 2 T's. There we go. Alright, we actually have some a replay over here. It's entitled, well, I won't read out the entire title, but it's entitled Not for the Faint of Heart. So I'm interested in this. There's going to be 2 Platinum players playing. This actually sounds rather fun. Sergeant Duck. I think I've seen this guy before. Sergeant Duck versus Captain. That's, oh sorry, Captain Catan. Oh my god, I thought his name was Captain, and I was gonna be like, that is the most beautiful thing in the world. Alright, where is the download button on this replay? How does one download this? Okay, I found it. Boom, got it. I just gotta move into the appropriate folder, so give me a moment, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be getting started shortly. And thank you everyone that's tuning in for the chill stream. Alright. It's on my desktop. Man, I wish there was an easier way to just like load up a replay without having it be in your replay folder. StarCraft just does not want to do that, though. Alright. Boom, dropped in the right folder. And loading up! Oh, thanks for tuning in, Stone Spider. Call an exorcist for the ghosts. Ghost computers. Maybe at some point, man. Have a good one, though. Alrighty, I think we are ready to get started. Let's go ahead and do this. Oh. Okay, come on. There. No, I'm not. My music's not pausing. That's so sad. My media keys randomly don't work sometimes. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get this show on the road. As we spawn down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, Ohana. Guess some ladder practice is going on. It is the Blue Zerg player. Representing Team iDuck. It is iDuck Sergeant Duck. Presenting or representing ducks everywhere. And his opponent, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, is going to be the yellow Terran player. Representing Team iPunk is going to be Captain Catan. Representing punks everywhere. Punks playing Settlers of Catan. There are a lot of really, really big assholes out there that play Settlers of Catan. Oh, you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and build this road right here. It's like, that doesn't give you any advantage whatsoever. Why are you doing this? Oh, you know, I just thought it would be a good idea. It just seemed like fun. No, you're a jerk. All right, play to win. Don't play to screw other people over. Anyways, it is gonna be Ohana though, and Ohana is one of those maps that we actually are. I think we're going to be seeing this during Dream Pool, the next season of the ladder map pool. So I'm looking forward to this, and actually a replay off of reddit.com/r/Casset. Thank you so much to either Sergeant Duck or Captain Catan that actually submitted this. I don't actually pay attention to the names during when I actually go look for the replays on there, just because oftentimes it does spoil who actually submitted it, but it is two Platinum League players playing against each other, and I suppose that they probably are friends of some sort, as this is a custom game. You can tell by, of course, the actual colors of the players. But, well, SCV is trying to be pulled off the line, trying to kill off that drone. The drone gonna be picking away at whatever damage it can do. This is, of course, the nice little game that you can play if you have a little bit of extra APM, and we can see APM actually pretty high for Sergeant Duck over there. Must be spamming a little bit, getting up to 200, 300, almost 150. Always fun to get some of that spam out, though. It does actually help. A lot of people talk about, like, oh, warms up your hands, all that stuff. I actually just like to do it just because it kind of, it irons out the nervousness. You kind of get to expend a little bit of that extra anxious energy that you build up, waiting for the games to actually get started, or especially if you're searching for, like, a ladder game or something. It really, really does help out a bit. So I don't really blame a lot of players that go for some of that kind of early game APM spam, but gas opening coming out from Captain Catan. You're probably going to be going for that Reaper opening, and yeah, this is going to be the Reaper opening. Now, one thing I will say, if you take a look at a lot of players that play in like bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, even like low masters, etc., you start to learn kind of like what goes on in their heads a little bit more. And oftentimes, a lot of Platinum League players, they actually go for pretty standard builds, or oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes they do decide to go for the more standard openings, and they kind of know and have a general idea of, this is what the pros do. I'm going to try and do generally what the pros are trying to do. But as you get into the later stages of the game, their mechanics aren't exactly at the same level, go figure, as, say, like Innovation or a Jadong or a Sue or, you know, whoever, Zest, whatever. So we end up seeing things get a little bit slightly more delayed, but still the general idea for how the playstyle is, and how the general, I guess, how the matchup kind of goes is still there. It's not actually like a lot of Bronze League games. You can see some really, really pretty funky stuff. You can see players go for like or like a spawning pool around like 12 supply, and then they'll get like 12 Zerglings, but they'll just keep them at home. It's just like safety Zerglings in case they get cannon rushed, and then they'll try and take an expansion and, you know, go do some really, really wonky stuff. Maybe build a cannon or two before they even get up their gateway, even though they aren't going for like a Forge Fast expansion. But not the case with Platinum League players. Platinum League players do kind of know what they're doing, but Reaper moving in. Oh, actually gets picked off. It's kind of annoying, but he gets a scat off on this Roach Warren. This Roach Warren should be a big tell, as it looks like Sergeant Duck does want to get some damage done, because that Roach Warren is very, very early. Of course, the Gas Geyser was thrown down. We don't see any Zergling speed coming out, so this is going to be a big Roach push out. But actually, more drones coming out right now, and this Queen needs to start doing those larva injects, falling a little bit behind on that macro over here. Sergeant Duck does want to be able to put on a little bit of that pressure, but for now, it looks like just more and more drones going to be going up, and actually a third expansion going down for Sergeant Duck. So maybe Sergeant Duck one of those players, and I know that I have fallen prey to this sometimes, where you get so frustrated with a particular type of game or like a play style that your opponent can do, like Hellion run-bys. Oh my god. I hate Hellion run-bys, so I'm just gonna go for early Roaches, and if he goes for Hellions, I will be hard countering the Hellions because I'll just have Roaches out and I'll be able to kill all those guys off and not have to worry about losing all my drones. Even if it is a big economic hit, you're willing to just take the hit if they don't go for the Hellion run-bys and say, you know what, I'm just going to make sure I don't die this way, because if I can get into the later stages of the game, I'm golden. So we'll see if that actually ends up working out for Sergeant Duck, as he is going to be making a couple of Roaches, probably to deal with any kind of aggression that the Terran player could do. But of course, he could also try and be a little bit more aggressive on his opponent's side of the map, because Captain Catan, I keep calling him almost Captain, which would be a beautiful name. I think that if he has a name change, he should go for Captain, because you always want to be the captain of captains. But oh, I'm getting called somewhere, guys. We're gonna ignore that, okay? We're just gonna ignore that right now, as we do have third expansion. Got canceled actually, and is now being rebuilt. Viking, actually, I love these Vikings. These Vikings are awesome, and yes, that is in fact the Final Fantasy ringtone. But yeah, there's Viking gonna be moving around the map, just gonna be sniping off of whatever overlords are around. But honestly, there's only 2 overlords that are kind of actually out on the outskirts of the map. The rest of them, I feel like, are just sitting by the hatchery, so not a whole lot of damage can actually be done over there. But now the Roach is moving out, trying to see what damage they can do, but the national expansion still has not been taken by Captain Catan, and that's actually a little bit weird. Both these players have played very, very defensively. It's almost like they both kind of expected all-ins out of their opponent, and neither of them really decided to go for the all-in. Well, Roach is now going to be moving in, and even though the Siege Tanks are going to be able to defend the main base, it's going to be kind of hard for him to try and take this natural expansion. He's going to have to inch this Siege Tank down over to the ramp, and once the Siege Tanks are down over by the ramp, well, the Roach is going to start actually moving in and trying to take them out. But ooh, Marine's going to be following up, or being the backup support over here. And actually, the Roaches are focused down on the rocks right now. They're not actually paying attention. Oh, one Roach goes down, a second Roach is going to be falling, and the remainder of the Roach is going to be just attack moving onto that Siege Tank. They don't quite manage to get it, and a lot of free damage done over there by Sergeant Duck. No, Captain Catan. Captain Catan getting this free damage done on those Roaches. This single Roach, the one remaining Roach that's left over, to try and deal some damage to those rocks, but he just decides, I'm gonna stay alive. I'm just gonna go back home. And at the end of the day, we have a weird situation where both of these players are now sitting at where I expected them to be a couple of minutes ago, just because they kind of opened up very, very safe and defensively. Well, Burrow is going to be coming out, and that's actually a pretty cool maneuver over here for Sergeant Duck, and we'll see if Sergeant Duck can make a whole lot happen with it. Siege Tanks now unsieging. Oh, Captain Catan, are you feeling good to move out right now? He doesn't actually have that many forces. Might have the medevacs out soon. He's had the starport for a while, but no Banshee going to be coming out. And that's actually a very interesting decision. He does have the tech lab on it, so I mean, I guess if you're going to go for the tech lab, it's kind of a good indicator they're going to go for the Banshee play, but kind of surprised that he's not going for stim, not going for combat shields, not going for, heck, medevacs or anything of the sort. In fact, just getting up a couple of high-tech units and just going to be trying to put on some pressure and see if his opponent is just unprepared for it. Well, the Roaches are out over here, but they're actually going to segment it off from the remainder of the backup forces. The backup forces now coming in, but the Siege Tanks just obliterating them. The Roaches trying to get on top of the Siege Tanks, but the regular move attack just not working out very, very well. And now the drone's being pulled off the line. Oh, that's in a scary, scary situation. And God, the Siege Tank survives with just 7 hit points left over. There's one Roach, maybe the hero Roach, is going to be coming in from the backside. He's working on the rocks. No, don't go after the rocks. Are the Roaches triggered to go on top of the rocks? Is that what their rally point was? Oh man, that's so painful. And now both the Siege Tanks are going to be able to survive a little bit longer, and even though they may both be taken out, no, it doesn't even look like they're going to be taken out. Oh man, they're just going to be able to continue to do extra pot shots on all these Roaches. Finally, the Roach is going to be going after the Siege Tanks, taking both of them out. The push will likely be cleaned up by this point, although the Banshee is going to be able to survive and continue to harass these Roaches. But the third expansion has been taken out, and that was a very, very painful loss for our Zerg player. He took so much damage from a very, very small force of Terran units. It honestly wasn't the biggest force ever. Terran player, though, back at home, kind of saving grace for a Zerg player is that he wasn't really mining off these gas geysers, hadn't really grabbed a third, or thrown down a third expansion or anything behind this. He's kind of fallen a little bit further behind on his macro where he could be. But he is spending all of his money, which is good. And, you know, he does still have this Banshee to harass these roaches that are now trying to move across the map. So eventually, this is going to just kind of put a nice little timer on that push out and say, you know, eventually these roaches are going to have to either do something or I'm going to kill all of them off. And it looks like the roach is going to be going after those rocks, finally finishing them off. And the siege tank count has been reset, actually. There's only one siege tank up in the high ground, one siege tank down on the low ground. Siege tank not siege up on the low ground, though, and those siege tanks do add in a lot of extra DPS. Finally getting it sieged up, though, is going to be able to force those roaches back, and the Banshee comes back home and is easily going to be able to thwart this kind of attack from the roaches. And the Zerg player, does have some Hydrals getting mixed in. The Hydrals, 4 Hydrals should be enough to forward off that Banshee, but he does have to be careful. It's actually pretty easy to just end up losing those Hydrals, and then the Banshee comes back in when the Hydrals are gone, and bada bing, bada boom, you suddenly don't lose all of your anti-air. And actually, 2 Banshees, no, 2 Banshees not even going to be close to being enough to actually deal with those Hydralists. One of them immediately gets killed off. The second one going to survive a little bit. Live to tell another live to die another day. That's the saying. Live to die another day. And we'll see if it ends up working out for him. He's going to have to control it well. I'd love to even just see him go out and be harassing with it, maybe. That would actually make it work out a little bit better for him, just because it's not going to be really adding that much extra DPS in the fight. And then meanwhile, Sergeant Duck is taking his 3rd expansion, or I should say, retaking that 3rd expansion. And, you know, is actually mining decently, is spending his money, but he just doesn't have the biggest force right now. The roaches now actually do have burrow as well as those Hydrals, but I mean the Hydrals cannot actually move while burrowed, so it's going to be a little bit difficult to make a whole lot of kind of big magic happen over here. Of course, there is no wall off over here, so the roaches could just burrow underneath the siege tanks, unburrow, take out the siege tanks. Hydrals come in from the side with maybe 2 or 3 extra roaches to back them up, and basically it acts as a giant concave. It's really, really difficult for the siege tanks to do a lot of damage, but I'm still just not sure that he has enough to deal with even the Marines and the Marauders, because the Marine Marauder count is actually getting pretty high. And you know, the one thing that the Zerg player does have going for him is the fact that he does have pretty good upgrades on his units right now. +2, +1, +2 weapons for those Zerg roaches and Hydrals, and a lot more roaches coming out, as well as tunneling claws actually, and actually muscular augments for those Hydralists. But also, I'll just say, like, +2 weapons versus just +1 weapons is pretty good, but also add in the +1 armor, it's going to be working out very, very well for the Zerg player in that sense. It's just, right now, I'm just wondering, is it quality going to be enough to deal with the quantity of units over here from Captain Catan? Well, 3rd expansion actually just gets immediately focus fire down. That was actually a little bit unfortunate over there. Not really in position to defend it, but now we end up seeing the big engagement going down, and this is what I was talking about. Captain Catan just has a lot more stuff. It can actually just take this engagement pretty handily, and we're going to see the Zerg player retreat on home, but the 3rd expansion was taken out. Again, that is a really, really nice pickoff, and being able to take out the Banshee might be a nice pickoff as well, but no, he smells that the rest of the army is over there as well. He does not want to be risking losing all these units over here. Kind of cute to burrow these units, maybe thinking, oh man, well, he'll have to force out scans, or I'll be able to just go for the counterattack or something. Actually, he may be able to go for us around over here. There's some of the forces now engaging a little bit early. Some of the units, 2 roaches come in from the backside, but this is more than enough to clean up this force. The Banshee does go for a cloak, so he is going to be able to survive a little bit longer. Is there actually an overseer being made? Does he actually realize the Banshee's over here? It doesn't seem to matter, because he's going to be able to clean up the remainder of the Terran army, and with the remainder of the Terran army being cleaned up, oh, this is going to put a very, very awkward position over here for Captain Catan. He's going to need to defend this 3rd expansion. He's trying to take this 3rd expansion, but he just doesn't have it. He doesn't have the units for it. Maybe the Banshee eventually, but again, Banshee is an eventual defense, not a I can defend this expansion from being killed off before I lose all my units. But you know, the siege is sieging up, and actually a regular move over here from a lot of the Zerg units, and actually they're kind of filtering in one at a time. This is exactly what Captain Catan needed to defend over here, and yeah, he's gonna be able to hold here, no problem. And wow, yeah, seeing that the roaches are in fact trying to burrow, and now he knows about the burrow shenanigans that could be going on. He keeps throwing down those scans, and the roaches could go ahead and try and burrow again and go for some kind of snipe off on the siege tanks, but with the missile turrets going up, that's going to be a much harder proposition. More roaches coming out with a Banshee. Finally, Banshee moving across the map. Going to be able to do a little bit of harassment. Now, there are no Hydrals out on the map, and there aren't any Hydrals in production either. In fact, actually, we only have 2 Queens for 3 bases for our Zerg player. Kind of odd. Would like to see that 3rd Queen pop out and start doing some of those larva injects, but, you know, may still be able to make something happen if he just gets up enough roaches, but, well, Yes, actually, I think this is a great play over here. You can take down this bunker, you move up into the main base. Guess what? All these siege tanks, they're very immobile units. They are gonna have to unsiege and move back in over here. But this is just so many units. There's just so much Terran right now. It's just not really working out. These are really cute plays coming out from our blue Zerg player. But Sergeant Duck is just not able to make the damage he needs to have happen with these kind of roach run bys. Oh, this is actually a nice maneuver over here. Able to get a couple of roaches in. As you know, unfortunately, all the SCVs were pulled as well, so it doesn't look like he's able to get off any kind of big SCV kills. But you know, he does manage to just kill off a little bit. He managed to get some good damage done. Kills off at least one of the missile turrets, so maybe he can sneak some roaches in, burrow them down to the backside of the mineral line, be annoying over there, force out some more scans. But again, I'm starting to question, like, is it worth sacrificing all of these roaches? Now we're going to end up seeing 4th expansion is finished up for Sergeant Duck, but he's not really mining from it. Only sitting on 55 drones as well. And yeah, the Terran player is also only just sitting on 44 SCVs, but he's making 3 at a time right now. And he has his 3rd expansion, has the advantage of mules. So honestly, I really like the position of the Terran player a little bit better right now. But roaches burrowing in once again. The missile turret not really rebuilt, and this is exactly what I was talking about. That missile turret is just going to be a little bit barely out of range. But no, the roaches move into range of the missile turret. They actually take a lot of damage, but they do unburrow. So Scan actually goes down unnecessarily on top of all the roaches, just saying, you can't retreat, you cannot escape. But a single roach is going to be able to escape to tell the tale of how all of his brethren were brutally murdered by the Terran forces. Terran does take a lot of damage. Captain Catan probably not going to be too happy about losing all those siege tanks, but I mean, he gets a lot of roaches. That was the entire standing army of Sergeant Duck, so I think he should feel pretty fine, pretty happy about that. Especially considering he's actually just mining like a madman with all of these mules at this 3rd expansion. Look at that income tab right now. He is just skyrocketing further ahead of the Zerg player. But we have, well, I thought this was actually going to be a Spire, but no, starts with an S, but not a Spire. It is a Spine Crawler going down. So maybe concerned about some drop play that could be coming out from his Terran opponent, but Sergeant Duck has got to find some kind of way to change the pace that this game has been going. Because right now, the game has sort of just been, I'm going to keep lobbying units at my opponent and hopefully seeing some way that can make damage happen. I like the mentality behind it. You know, doing things like sending some units in over to the main base after taking out the bunker. And then sending 3 roaches to the 3rd expansion. That kind of hit and run tactics. Pull the army to the main base, go for the attack of the 3rd. It just hasn't been working out though. And I'm starting to wonder if maybe he should just be thinking about max out and go. Max out and go for the big push. Don't go for all these small pushes, but ooh, Banshee Harass doing some good damage over here. 3 kills, 9 kills on this Banshee, 3 kills on this one. But we'll see, actually, a lot of these kills have been on drones as well. 21 drones killed so far this game. And a couple more of these roaches going to be falling. Overseer being morphed in, but no Hydros in the mix just quite yet. Hydros now finally coming in, and with the Overseer finally in the mix, it looks like the Hydros will be able to push back these Banshees. Not quite able to clean all of them up, so they are going to be able to return and be annoying yet again in the future, but I like the fact that Sergeant Duck just throwing down the Spore Crawlers. You know what? Just get up that static defense. You don't want to have to be tasked with the fact that there could be Banshees harassing you while you're trying to push into that natural expansion or that 3rd expansion. Just let the static defense do it. Don't task your APM for it. And, you know, Sergeant Duck starting to get mined out of that natural expansion. Of course, so is going to be Captain Catan, as he has only got about 300 minerals left over on some of these patches. Going to be running very, very dry very soon. So, gotta maybe be thinking about that 4th expansion, because very soon it's going to be a 1-base Terran versus a, I guess technically 2 or 3 base Zerg. Considering Sergeant Duck does have this expansion, it's still mining relatively healthily. Losing that expansion has actually worked out quite well, I would say, for Sergeant Duck, because now Sergeant Duck going to have a booming economy. But he's going to be able to spend all that money. Well, the Banshee's doing a good job to making sure that he doesn't have too much gas income for now. It takes out that gas. Guys are just going to be retreating on after that. Overseer not quite following along, not quite getting the memo that the Banshees are already retreated a little bit further up north, but still, I like the fact that we have Captain Catan doing that Banshee harassment, but again, that 4th expansion is going to be so important. Whoa, whoa, whoa! I was not paying attention to that production tab. Starports actually throwing down 3 starports at a time. Battle cruisers coming out. We have 3 battle cruisers already out. We already have 3 more on the way. How in the world is he affording this? The natural expansion is going to be mined out very soon, and I will say, okay, if you think that having 3 base economy with like your main base basically not really mining anymore, your natural expansion barely mining is kind of low economy. When you're trying to produce 3 battle cruisers at a time, that's when it gets a little bit insane. But Viper's actually in the mix now. If they throw down the blinding clouds, that's gonna force the Marines and the Marauders to maybe like get into one range. But the battle cruisers aren't gonna be affected by that. They're gonna be able to reign supreme in the air, and it's gonna be really, really difficult. Look at this is the entire anti-air of Sergeant Duck. It's 6 Hydralisks. I think there are going to be 6 battle cruisers out on the map in a second. That's 1 battle cruiser per Hydralisk. Do you know what wins in a battle cruiser versus Hydralisk battle? I'm pretty sure the battle cruiser doesn't take like any damage whatsoever. But blinding clouds are thrown down. Only 3 battle cruisers in the mix. Really good blinding clouds. Oh my god, those are beautiful blinding clouds. He may actually be able to pull this off and kill off the remainder of the ground forces of the Terran army. But the Hydralisks are going to be taken out, and the battle cruisers are eventually going to be able to clean up the ground forces of the Zerg army, and that's going to be a big, big problem. So yes, he does win the ground battle, but at what cost? He loses his entire army, and now the battle cruisers are starting to build up into higher and higher counts, honestly. We're going to have 6 battle cruisers out on the map, 2 more on the way. Mutals are going to be nice. Mutals may actually be able to pick off a stray battle cruiser or 2. But here's the thing. Battle cruisers have a lot of armor. Look at that. 4 armor. Guess what? These Mutals, they are dealing 5 damage. They're dealing almost half the damage that they normally should be dealing to units. And that's, of course, also applies to the balance effect for the Glaive Worms. So that's the thing. Mutals not exactly the best unit to deal with battle cruisers, but Corruptor's going to be on the way. That is actually going to be a nice choice over here for Sergeant Duck, but this expansion is going to be completely denied of mining. This expansion is going to start to mine, but it's not really mining just yet. He's going to have to wait for this drone transfer to really start getting that, to kick him back into overdrive, to get him back to that 2 base economy. Corruptor's now popping out, a little bit unfortunate position, as they're going to be taken out pretty much immediately, but the Mutal is now going to be able to move to the natural expansion pretty much uncontested. Oh man, they're actually going to be able to murder this mineral line. So, I mean, I was talking about how battle cruisers don't take too much damage from Mutals. Well, you actually just don't have to engage the battle cruisers. You, in fact, just go around them and go kill off the economy of your opponent. Make sure that more battle cruisers can't be produced, and in the meanwhile, get up Corruptors behind this. Well, here's going to be the big problem, though. One of the final remaining bases left over for the Zerg player is going to be under siege, and the Corruptors, they're trying to do some good damage. They're doing some good damage to these battle cruisers, actually taking out one of the battle cruisers. The other battle cruiser is not quite focused, running down the Corruptors. The Beetles are actually also coming back to help defend this expansion. The expansion goes down, but so are going to be all the battle cruisers are going to be falling as well, and the Marines and the Marauders doing some good damage to the Corruptors, actually going to be able to kill off a lot of these Beetles. Oh my god, this trade is so strange. I'm not sure who's coming out on the better side of this. I guess actually 2 battle cruisers, one battle cruiser is going to survive, and a handful of ground units for the Terran player. So Zerg player is still going to be in a lot of trouble. No gas geysers left over at this 3rd expansion, but a lot of Zergans going to be coming out. The final battle cruiser is going to be taken out by the Corruptors, but where is going to be the follow-up? He needs some ground forces to deal with this Terran army. Otherwise, he's going to lose his actual natural expansion. Could even end up losing the Spire very soon as well. And that is going to be a very difficult situation. Oh god, and what is he going to do from there on? 3-2 upgrades on the Terran Bioforces, and the Roaches, I mean, they have 3-3 upgrades as they're popping out, so I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world, but this is just less than ideal. Corruptors trying to throw down corruption on top of this Terran forces. The Broodling's going to be adding in some extra DPS. That actually might be the extra DPS he needs to clean up this force, but man, losing the natural expansion, I guess it keeps the Spire alive. Needs to drop some creep down on that Spire just to make sure it doesn't end up dying. But we have a 1 base economy Zerg player versus, honestly, a 1 base economy Terran player. So maybe, god, the craziest trades in the world. But I think it actually has worked out well for both of these players in certain ways. The battle cruisers are not going to be a good choice at this point. Let's just be honest. With this many Corruptors still left out on the map, really wouldn't like to see battle cruiser production remade. But Marines and Marauders, I mean, they can still do a lot of damage just because, again, what army is there really left over ground-wise for the Zerg player? It's basically just these 9-10 Roaches with a couple more on the way. So those Roaches are going to have to regroup. They do not want to be filtering into this army one by one. And there actually are a couple of battle cruisers. They might be able to add in a little bit of extra DPS earlier on in the fight, but I imagine that they will be taken out by those Corruptors relatively quickly. But oh god, Sergeant Duck totally out of position. He has expansions on opposite sides of the map right now, and he's going to be losing so much tech over there. Infestation Pit, Roach Warren, Hydral's Den, all going to be under attack. Roach Warren a little bit safer since it is further back, and that is an important one just because he is basically relying on roaches right now, but the battle cruisers are getting taken out immediately by this Corruptor's Corruption also being thrown down, but the battle cruisers are already doing some good damage, and the Roach is going to be taken out relatively quickly. Oh, actually Marine's not quite enough, so he does end up killing off the Hive Tech, but he ends up losing his entire army for it. But here's the thing. Terran players don't have to rebuild expansions like the Zerg players do. They can just float their main base over and throw down all of that extra mule energy, and boom, sudden increase. Look, let's take a look at that income. Oh man, look at that beautiful income shoot up. God, this is so many mules. That is a disgusting number of mules. And that's going to be enough to keep him going for a little bit longer. He doesn't have a massive amount of barracks. I think he actually only has like, yeah, 4 barracks. 4 barracks is actually not enough to support this many mules. He's going to have way more minerals than I think he can spend for a little bit. But that's actually okay. He's also gotten up this expansion, this orbital command, or soon to be orbital command, and he's going to be able to mine from that, which is going to be important because he's actually starting to lose this expansion. He can't really even lift this off just because the Corruptor's over here. So a very nice move out over there from Sergeant Duck saying, you know what, you made me make all these roaches to defend my expansion. Well, I'm going to go ahead and use them and be aggressive and kill off your shit. Why not? This expansion is going to be able to get up for at least a little bit, but is Sergeant Duck going to be on to him? He's been a little bit slower to be moving out on the map, but whenever there has been a new expansion for Captain Catan, it has actually been pressured by the Zerg player. The Zerg player's been pretty good about it, pressuring those expansions, but now we end up seeing the Terran player, who has been very, very aggressive this entire game, now moving into this expansion for the Zerg player. And these units really just don't have much of an escape plan. They're going to be focused firing down the hatchery. I don't know how well this is going to work out. There is another hatchery on the other side of the map, so losing all these units is pretty costly. You can see over here, I mean, there's this hatchery that's not really mining too heavily. I mean, a lot of these mineral patches going to be dying out fairly soon, but I mean, the gas geysers are over here, and there is actually this expansion over here that's pretty fresh, but ooh, I like the auto turrets, and actually I really like the Raven choice. Raven's going to be that sustainable damage. They're the air units that can actually also try and fly away, but there is still this one concern. That's the fact that these corruptors have been here so long in this game, and I feel like this is going to be a very, very scary proposition, because 2.9 movement speed versus the 2.25 movement speed, these Ravens can't actually run, and they're not actually even going to try. Ravens immediately get taken down. That's a very hefty investment. I guess he's trying to make use of the fact that he says, I have 3 starports with tech labs. I might as well make Ravens. We're getting into the late game, but this is a very scrappy game. I think that unless you can really get that air dominance, it's not really a good option. Go for that air control. Go for the Ravens. Planetary Fortress finishes up only to be taken out almost immediately, and now we have a Terran player that is quite literally mining off of just 4 mineral patches. He's going to be able to do some nice damage and kills off this expansion once again, kills off a couple of the drones that are long distance mining, and may be able to move down to this bottom left-hand expansion as well, as this is going to be a very weird base trade situation once again. Base trade part 2, and the expansion going to be focused fire down over here. The Corruptors, of course, going to be making sure that this expansion can't just like lift off, but the Roaches gonna need to start focus firing down some of these units. Why are you running away? Oh my god, I feel like you can take that engagement. Oh man, ends up losing a lot of units over there just on the retreat, but I guess he wants to make sure he's not going to lose this bottom left-hand expansion. His bottom, or this expansion that's just above his main base, he is still mining those, so I feel like he can afford to just go for the base trade right now. He's going to retreat back home, going to be able to take out a lot of these Marines and Marauders, though, and is going to be able to save that bottom left-hand expansion, as the Roach is going to be enough to defend, and really well done over there by Sergeant Duck. Single Widowmine moving into that expansion, and I guess it will be able to kill off a couple of these Zerglings. Boom, there goes that one shot, and he's gonna actually have, how in the world is he affording this army? I guess he still had some income left over from that giant mule drop he did earlier on, and he may actually be able, could he actually take out this expansion? Oh my god, I think he might be able to take out this expansion. He's throwing down a missile turret because he knows this is his last orbital command and he needs it for mules. So he's saying, I would rather just throw up a missile turret over here to make sure you can't do any kind of roach bro shenanigans on top of my army than to scan. And this is actually really sick. He's taking out the expansion. Oh, Widowmine actually doing more damage to his own units than to any of those actual Zerg units over there. A little bit unfortunate. He needs every unit he can get right now, but the Zerg player also needs every unit he can get as well. He's throwing up the spawning pool down here at this bottom left-hand expansion. This is his last remaining expansion. This is spawning pool gonna be actually dying because it's off of creep. It looks like the Spire died off as well. It didn't actually get that creep spread going from those overlords. Oh man. But I think that Captain Catan, he knows there should only be one expansion left over. It's going to be this one. It's pretty intuitive to assume that this expansion does not exist. It's pretty intuitive that this expansion is there's no reason to take that expansion. So I assume he's going to be moving to that location. He's going to be sending the SCVs back to mine. This is a smart decision. There's no real fear of any kind of aggression happening over here. But I do want to know Sergeant Duck taking an expansion on the other side of the map. Very cheeky. Very, very cheeky. Is actually gonna be enough though. I mean, he needs units to defend over here. He's throwing up his Baneling Nest. Oh, if he can get up a Baneling Nest, he does have some gas, he does have minerals. He can actually make a decent number of units. Guess what? These Marines and Marauders, they have stim. Oh my god! Missile or sorry, not point defense drones. Hunter Seeker missiles actually supply blocking a Zerg, but I've never seen Hunter Seeker missiles used to kill off enough overlords to supply block a Zerg player. Oh, he's going to be able to kill off even more of these overlords. This is actually going to be a very heavy supply block. You have to remember, under normal circumstances, it would be like annoying, but it wouldn't be like huge or game ending. Right now, we have a Zerg player that has to produce an absurd number of overlords. I think like 5 more before he can unsupply block himself. He's going to have to rely on building spine crawlers now because he can't actually produce additional units. Instead, he's going across the map with these roaches and just saying, I'm going to make sure that you don't have anything else mining. Okay, nothing mining at this expansion, nothing mining at this expansion. Cool. Time to go for your third expansion. This expansion that I know you're going to be mining from. But once again, a base trade situation. Base trade part 3, ladies and gentlemen. Spine crawlers going up, but not going to be finishing in time. And even if they did, I mean, the Ravens could easily just throw down some point defense drones and deal with that. And now we end up having the Queens being taken out. Point defense drones, or auto turrets going down as well. And just absolutely massacring this expansion. This is not the last mining base of the Zerg player. But the Roach is now coming back home. And they're going to be able to take out this army once again. Jeez, I'm amazed by how many times this army has been taken out. But the Roaches taking some big damage over there from the Hunter Seeker missiles. Roaches pretty tanky units though, so they're going to be okay with that for now. Drones also transferring up to this top right-hand expansion. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the awkward moment where the Roaches finally have a dominant position on the map. There's actually not that big of a unit or force over here for Captain Catan. Captain Catan has only produced about 2 more medevacs throughout this game. I feel like now that the Corruptors have all been taken out, I think there are there's 1 Corruptor left on the map, but it's very low on health. This is the time to get out a medevac or 2. This is the time where you start playing I'm going to move all the way around the map. I'm going to move everywhere. Just take out your expansions as you pop them up. And make sure you cannot reproduce these Roaches. Because guess what? The Roaches do not have anti-air capabilities. You can just lift up this expansion and fly your units around. And the medevac boost will also make it hard for the Zerg player to actually keep up with those units. You can actually just move all the way around. It'd be so annoying, especially with the auto turrets capabilities. And actually, he uses a Hunter Seeker missile once again on that Corruptor, kills that one off. And what's up, Genobot? Agamemtium. Nice to have you, as well as Disco Stew 0. Good to have all you in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. We're just doing a bit of a chill cast from red.com/r/castit. But geez, I don't even know what to make of this game anymore. We have Spore Crawler going up over here for Sergeant Duck. Does need some kind of anti-air defense for those Ravens. And of course there are still those these 3 starports. I mean, if we do get any kind of gas income for our Terran player, oh god, he'd have to long distance mine. He could long distance mine from his natural expansion. I'm trying to think if he can get a Banshee. That would actually just be so enormously helpful to get up a single Banshee. But Roach is now trying to move in. He ends up losing 1 Roach to those 2 Widowmine shots, but the Roaches are going to be moving in, taking out the supply depot, now just backing off. Don't want to overcommit right now. Oh, scan goes down. That's actually a big investment to go for the scan, because again, every scan is a mule, and normally that's like actually kind of a normally big deal. That's like an okay-ish deal. This is like big deal. That's about 25% of the economy just used trying to kill off some extra Roaches, and it didn't quite work out. But refiners actually get taken down, so the option of long distance mining to the natural expansion is going to be a little bit harder to make work. does have a couple of mineral patches left over. Actually has, you know, between all of these mineral patches, has around 1,000 some minerals. 1,200 minerals maybe left in that main base, so he's actually got a decent chance at that. Auto turret actually throwing down this natural expansion, just saying you can't produce any more roaches or spawning or zerglings or anything. You have to remake these buildings, and I know you're hurting on economy, but actually he is mining off of this one base, and this has never looked to be more healthy in my entire StarCraft career. A one base Zerg player, a healthy economy. Go figure. But oh, Roach is actually getting picked off over here. Not sure if it was a scan thrown down, but it looks like he's maybe looking to throw down another scan. Oh, he's suspecting something. He's seeing the creep over here. He's moving in. He's saying, you know what? I'm going to go after this base. You can no longer mine over here, but the Roach is actually in a pretty decent count. Oh, they're enough to push on through. And the Terran player just barely not able to make it through. And I feel like just that +3 armor upgrade also probably hurting the Terran player just a little bit. This late in the game, I'm not sure if it's actually worth it to go for that armor upgrade. I mean, it's such a scrappy game. You'd rather just have extra units over extra armor upgrade or something. But man, it is painful. Auto turrets finally being thrown down, take out that Banley Nest. The Banley Nest being taken down, the Ravens can come back home to help defend against the Roaches and just make sure nothing too crazy is happening. But once again, this expansion is thrown down and... or I should say, not thrown down, it's landed, and is now mining off of these 2 mules. This is probably one of the scrappiest games I've seen in a very long time, but finally, Sergeant Duck is looking good. He has been mining for such a long time, and he's got his opponent basically on a contain. The one thing he doesn't really have on lockdown that I think maybe he should be thinking about is sending out 1 or 2 of these Roaches to one of those bases and just stopping mining from those expansions, because guess what? The mules can't even be like SCVs and attack a single auto turret or something. Actually, yeah, just, well, actually no, sorry, the Ravens are the ones that can throw down auto turrets, not the Zerg player. Oh, actually, killing off a couple of these Marines. I guess actually this is a smart move. The Zerg player is actually utilizing the burrow play really well, because you have to remember these Roaches, they take a lot of damage from those auto turrets, they take a lot of damage from the Hunter-Seeker missiles, even the Marines just attacking them, but they get to regenerate all of that with the burrow. But oh, actually now with the Ravens in the mix, he can see the burrow play, so the Roach is going to have to be on the retreat immediately. Oh, this one Roach also gets out, very, very low health, gonna want to keep everything alive that he can, but now he has some Queens to help defend. This Queen's going to be very, very helpful. He even has a Transfuse available on one of these. Could be going for that, but actually not even going to need it. It has enough for Roaches now, and with the Mules popping out, that might actually just be the way that he can finish off and close out this game. Isn't actually going to be enough, Captain Catan. He's posturing to be aggressive, but does he actually have the units to be aggressive right now? He's been mining off of this base, needs to throw down some more mules. You need to use that mule energy. There we end up seeing 2 more mules being thrown down. Third mule goes down. Doesn't have enough energy for a scan, but he has the Ravens with him, so he doesn't need the scan. Widow Mine also going to be very, very important, especially if he wants to try and pick off those mules before they can do a whole lot of damage. Only 5 mules going to be out. 4 mules out right now, and a 5th one on the way. Every unit that's produced is going to matter so much, and I feel like the longer that this game goes on, the better of a position Sergeant Duck is going to be. And look at this! Sergeant Duck has been able to retake this bottom left-hand expansion. He even has a Spine Coil and a Spore Coil he's lifted up for such a long time. He can actually burrow these and just defend against an auto turret or Raven attack if that happens again. Oh, but now we end up seeing the Terran army moving in over here. The Ravens getting focus firing down by the Queens immediately. Nice focus firing down from Sergeant Duck. Transfuse going down as well on top of the Roaches. It looks like the Zerg player are going to be able to take this engagement. And with it, I feel like that has to be game. That has to be. There's only 9 supply left over. GG, GG bro gets called. And it looks like Sergeant Duck going to be able to take the game in quite a splendid fashion. A very, very scrappy game over there, ladies and gentlemen. Well, thank you so much for tuning in for that one. That was, in fact, a cast from reddit.com/r/castit. And I'll go ahead and take a look to see who actually submitted it. Because, you know, I always just assume that it's the winner that submits it. Oh, well, that's not helpful at all. Chanman999 submits it to reddit.com/r/castit. But thank you very much to either Sergeant Duck or Captain Katana, or actually it looked like there were some observers in the game earlier on, so it could have been anyone. But thank you to whoever submitted that. It was a pleasure to cast, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that. But with that being said, we're going to move on and cast some more chill games here on the stream. If you're watching this on the YouTube VODs, there probably is more of the VOD, because I'm lazy and I don't like to cut up into individual games. Alright. I also want to welcome everyone to the stream that had popped in. Wasn't here earlier. Good to have you guys. I know we had Stone Spider take off, but we still have Genobot, a Gameton, again, and God, man, you have a hard to pronounce name, man. A Game NTM. I know that's not how it's probably pronounced, but that's how I'm gonna say it. We also have a Disco Stew 0. Oh yeah, and Genobot, point defense drones have really high priority, actually. It actually really messes with AIs, like really badly. What's up, Fostev? Good to have you, man. Alright. Well, just a side note, if anyone does want to play any games and be casted, you can feel free to join the channel Fear Dragon over on the North American server. But in the meanwhile, I think I'm just going to be looking for another game to cast. Was that the only game that wasn't already casted on r/castit? I think it was. Let me go ahead and post and say that I casted the game. Have the VOD up soon. Alrighty. Well, I'm just gonna go ahead and see actually if we have Check-Raise actually. Check-Raise wants to play. Hey man, what's up? What's up, Max? Actually, Check-Raise is the guy that I went to school with back when I was in college. Really awesome guy. Also much better at StarCraft than I. Of course, that's not saying much, but still, Check-Raise is actually a pretty good Protoss player. I think he was saying that he was playing some games against a Terran player that I know. So we'll see if that we can get in some of those games. By the way, guys, if you enjoy the music, youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek. Amazing, amazing YouTube artist. I highly recommend you guys go check him out. I think this song in particular is from Final Fantasy XIV. It's actually, I think it's the Titan. No, it's not the Titan song. Is it? No, this is the Ultimate Battle theme song. Final Fantasy XIV is actually just an awesome game. I really enjoy that game. If anyone plays, actually, feel free to let me know. I play on the server... What server do I play on? I haven't played for a while. Breaking Out has just been taking up all my time, so I haven't really gotten the chance to. Hey, what's up? Disco Stew now sitting in the chat. The in-game chat is looking to play a game. Alright, we're actually gonna go ahead and check out another series first, but Disco Stew, we will get to you. And if you could find actually another Gold League player that is interested in playing, please feel free to let them know. If you are a Gold League player and you want to play, got an opponent for you. Or sorry, platinum-ish. Gold/platinum level Terran player. Everyone likes Terran players, right? Everyone likes playing against Terran players. I know that there was a poll recently on r/StarCraft that was, for each race, it had everyone vote on what your preferred matchup was. And I think that the two most preferred matchups were Protoss versus Terran and Zerg versus Terran. And I think the most preferred mirror matchup was Terran versus Terran. So I feel like a Terran opponent is basically what everybody wants, right? Okay. Okay, Disco. Check-Raise and CZH. Now, these are both gentlemen from the Purdue StarCraft Club. Big shout out to Purdue. Oh, hold on, I need to ask them something. Alright. I'm just wondering because... Oh, actually, we also got Matt in. Oh, actually, Check-Raise. Oh my god, did Check-Raise graduate? Oh my god. Congratulations, Max, on your graduation, man. Well done. You made it through. You survived. Oh, Foster, you're on your phone. No problem, man. I already got to see some of your game. I already got to cast you a little bit earlier. The last time I did a stream. I think last week, actually. A 50-minute ZVP? Oh, God. Alright, well, I think we're going to be jumping in this game. It's going to be a PvT. It's going to be CheckRays versus CZH. Both these guys I know, and I haven't actually seen them for a while. I will say CheckRays, pretty good player. Both of them have been in Masters before, even if they aren't in Masters now. Oh, I'm actually host right now. I can actually just start the game. Let's go ahead and do it. Yeah, let's do it. Hey, what's... Oh, God, Caesar in the chat. You're supposed to be playing, Max. You need to mute the stream, bro. Don't be that guy, man. Don't be that guy. I know you're playing against a friend, but don't go all stream cheating on me. Alright. Well, the game is getting started. Ladies and gentlemen, I will actually just remind you really quickly, if you do enjoy the show today, please do consider following the channel. I'm going to be doing a lot more of these kind of chill streams where just get a bunch of people together and just cast. And it's actually a huge pleasure to have everyone join me for these chill casts. But let's go ahead and jump in, introduce the players. Yes, my media control keys are working. Let's do it. As we spawn down here in the bottom side of the map, merry-go-round, top of the teal Protoss player, representing Purdue StarCraft Club, it is CheckRays, also known as Max. And his opponent, spawning up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, as the green Terran player, also representing Purdue StarCraft Club, it is CZH, also known as Carl. Okay, there we go. Alright, PvT. These guys have played against each other before, many times. So I'm expecting to see maybe a potential mind games coming out from these guys. Maybe a little bit of prediction strats on you know, oh man, this guy really likes to do X. I might as well just prepare for that preemptively. And also, just speaking of kind of metagame plays, this is a map that for Terran versus Protoss, oh god, it can be absolute hell as a Protoss player. Terran players love this map because there's one thing you need to know about this map. It's that drop play can come in from this entire side. There's a nice big main base. You can also get drops coming in from the natural expansion, and most importantly, once you take a third as a Protoss player, you have to figure out where am I going to position my army. Because if you position it out over here, you can defend your natural expansion and your third expansion, depending on whether you take this third or this third. You can position your army around here and you defend them both. That's wonderful. That's great news. But how do you defend your natural expansion and your third expansion and your main base from the drops? You get to position your army so far away from your main base, and you can take so much damage. It becomes very annoying for a Protoss player to deal with. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see CZH go for some of that kind of play and go for that drop heavy play. It's just such a good map for it. You'd honestly be a little bit silly not to even at least consider it. In the meanwhile, we do have a gas opening coming out from our Terran player. Going to be going for the Marine first, though, and actually just straight plopping down that factory. So we could be seeing a very aggressive opening. I'm almost wondering if this is going to be that Drunken Boil style that some Terran players have been doing more and more often lately. It's that Hellion style. You open up with a couple of Hellions, you get up a medevac and drop some Marines in the main base of your opponent, while you also go for the Hellion run by the natural. But honestly, just knowing CZH a little bit better, I think that it's a little bit more likely to be Widow Mines. This isn't something I know just based on how he's doing his build. It's just something I kind of get the feel from knowing this player. So we'll see if I'm correct a little bit later on. At the same time, CheckRays, he's just going for the standard old Protoss. He's getting up the second gas geyser, he's getting up his mothership core, and wouldn't be too surprised to be seeing that natural expansion being thrown down sometime soon. But here's the thing. CheckRays did get the probe up and saw the factory, and that's a huge tell to say, oh my god, my opponent's going for a factory this early on. I need to be ready for this. And the most intuitive thing that you gotta do is you have to first of all, not lag, but second of all, get up a robotics facility. I feel like that's got to be it. That's got to be the response from Checkers. He's going to throw this Nexus, and then he's immediately got to go 1v8 Robo, because you need to have observers out, both for the Widow Mines or potentially for a Banshee play, if that is something that, you know, some Terran player is feeling really, really crazy and decides to go for a Banshee, because that just doesn't happen very often. But it is going to be the Widow Mine drop, and we do have a single Widow Mine out on the map. Actually, a Hellion being produced behind this, so I'm kind of curious now. Is he just going to make a handful of Marines, make like 2 or 3 Hellions, run the Hellions in, and then drop the Marines and the Widow Mine in the main base? This could work out very, very well, because you have to remember, Checkers made a Sentry first, going to be making a Stalker follow-up, so he's going to have Stalker Zealot Sentry combination. So he's going to have like a decent mix of units, but the Sentry really not adding in a lot of DPS to take out that Widow Mine very quickly, which is such an important thing to be able to do when you're up against this kind of drop. You want to be able to take out that Sentry immediately, especially if you do not have your robotics facility on the way. Checkers not going for the Robo, even after scouting the factory, maybe thinking that this isn't going to be a fast Widow Mine drop. He's maybe thinking it's just going to be the Hellion play. He's got the Sentry over here saying, I can just force field out the Hellion, and actually, if he sees this Hellion, it may even throw him even further off, but finally, he does see that this push-in is coming. He has the Mothership Core over here. He's moving the Mothership Core away. No, you need that over here in a Photon Overcharge. Maybe he's actually just moving over to the Natural Expansion, thinking that, hey, I can deal with this with just my Gateway units, and the Photon Overcharge will be ready for any kind of Hellion run by, but the Hellions actually run straight into the main base. They're actually going to be getting on top of the probes. The probes going to be very vulnerable. A handful of them already following. Now we have even worker counts for both of these players. Natural Expansion still being built over here for the Terran player, though, so he needs to do a little bit more damage. Taking out the Stalker actually may be able to do maybe a nice little win over there, but doesn't quite get it. Manages to get out with the remainder of the Marines, though. So a nice kind of win over there, but the Widow Mine is still left. Oh no, does Checkers not realize the Widow Mine's still here? He's going to take some more probe damage. Not going to be taking a lot, but I think he's going to end up losing 2 or 3. 3 probes killed off. Oh man, that's actually really painful right now for Checkers. And that is going to easily allow CZH to kind of come back from that sort of economic loss of not getting up that earlier Natural Expansion that Checkers did. At the end of the day, I would say it's kind of an even game, but here's the thing. Robotics Facility is only just now going down for Checkers. Checkers has really heavily delayed his tech in comparison to, you see, CZH over here. He has a starport, he has a factory, he has his 3 barracks and both of the tech labs finished up. He's going to be getting into that good old macro mode. He's getting out the units and the tech that he wants. Whereas you can see, Checkers is going to be further delayed on those. The Colossus tech, he's going to be delayed on a lot of stuff, but they're going to be sitting on relatively even worker counts. And that's not even going to the whole, oh my god, and also mules. So a Protoss player wants to be further ahead on the worker counts. And this is what I was saying, ladies and gentlemen. Drop play on this map is such a pain to deal with. And we can see that CZH realizing he's going to be going for it again, even though I would say it wasn't necessarily just the fact that, you know, Protoss player was super split up to deal with that drop, and that was the reason why he had some trouble with it. This wasn't exactly the reason, but still, it's going to be even harder to do as the game goes on, as he gets a 3rd expansion up eventually. If it even gets to that point, because we have a double drop now rearing its way over to the main base. Is Checkers going to be prepared for it? He does have the observer around now, so he can finally detect those Widow Mines, but god, this is just not a very big Gateway army right now. 2 Stalkers, 2 Zealots, and 2 Sentries. I mean, yeah, they're all basically just good old married couples right now, but I don't know if that's actually even enough to deal with the drop play. Even if this is just a force that walked up that main ramp or the Natural Expansion ramp, as long as it didn't get force fielded out, I feel like this is still a very, very scary army to deal with right now. 3 warp gates are going to help out, though. He's going to be able to get those up, but oh god, he's going to lose the robotics facility. Oh, going to be losing out on a lot of that tech. The robotics bay going to be finishing up still, though. He's still going to be safely building that over at the Natural Expansion. Force Field's going down instead of Guardian Shield. Kind of interesting choice over here. I feel like Guardian Shield may be benefiting him a little bit more, but you know, the Medivacs do manage to lift up and get those Marines out of there. And honestly, losing only 4 or so Marines at the cost of, for the trade of killing off a robotics facility and halting that Colossus production for even longer than it already was halted, that's just going to be a beautiful win for CZH. CZH just looking to be in a really, really solid control of this game right now. But also at a pretty even worker count, 40 to 42 workers. and has a decently sized Terran Bioforce, has +1 weapons finished up, has Stim finished up, getting combat shields, so combat shields not quite going to be done in time for this push out. May finish up actually as this push out ends, kind of interesting timing, but you know, he does want to make sure he gets out across the map before the first Colossus pops out. That is going to be the big time he's trying to hit right now. Hallucinate Phoenix moving in and around, seeing, okay, what are you up to right now? So you have an engineering base, so you have all this stuff off, and good, your factories lift up, you're not producing anything over there. But most importantly, he did not see where the army was, and that's going to be a big indicator that, hey, my opponent's actually starting to move in, and moving in he is, as he is in the natural expansion. Photon Overcharge does go down, but there's 4 Medivacs in this army, and all of the Zealots, all the Stalkers have been completely cleaned up. 3 more Zealots being warped in, 4 shields going down, but really, they just are not enough. The sentries get taken out as well, and it looks like I think that Check Raise is going to be taken out, as when you end up seeing a Photon Overcharge be the last remaining defense and the Nexus itself is getting killed off, that is going to be cause for GG. CZH taking the game. And I say the game because I wasn't sure if this was a best of 3, best of 7, best of 11, or best of 101 series. But congratulations, CZH, on that victory. We're going to see if we have an opponent for our other player, Disco Stu. Oh, we do actually have a Barcode Silver League player. Barcode. Do you consider yourself a Silver League player? If we do have a Silver League player, we're gonna attach a handicap to Disco Stu because he considers himself a goldish plat level player. Oh, plat. He is plat. Oh, derp. Perfect. Okay, we have an even matchup. We're gonna be jumping into another series. I don't actually know what race our Barcode platinum player plays, but we're gonna find out in a second as we pick out a map. Ooh, we haven't seen this map for a while. I'm gonna go with this map. Okay. Alright. I'm going to invite these players to the game, and we're going to be jumping into the game on this fun map. Because that's what I'm all about on this stream. I'm all about, on the chill streams, going for crazy maps that we never ever get to see. And the map is going to be Tal'Darim Altar. I am actually still a little bit bitter that Tal'Darim Altar didn't make it into the map pool. Totally not bitter. This not making it. Alright, we're getting this game started. It's gonna be a Terran versus random. We have a random platinum player. Actually, let me see if I can load up his profile really quickly. It looks like he actually may be a random player. I think he actually is a random player. That's actually kind of cool. Well, random player versus Terran player. We'll see how this works out on the map Tal'Darim Altar. It's a big 4-player map. That means that Disco Stu gonna probably open up. I wouldn't be too surprised to see him open up with a Reaper Expand, just because Reaper Expand works out in every single matchup. And it's a nice way to get that early scout off. So let's go ahead and jump into the game and introduce the players. As we spawn, up here in the top left-hand corner of the map, Tal'Darim Altar on top of the pink Terran player, it is going to be Disco Stu. Parting hard, dancing hard, of course, while eating glorious stew. But his opponent, spawned down here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, is going to be the green Zerg player, representing Team 440 No Scope. Not quite a 580, or sorry, 520? 540? Actually, I think it's a 540, or a 480. Not quite a 480 No Scope, but it is going to be the Barcode Zerg player. This is why I don't try and do math on stream. What's 180 plus 180? I think it's somewhere between 360 and 1200. That's pretty much my response right now. Well, we have, again, Terran versus Zerg coming out. kind of interesting. This is actually, again, one of those matchups that I've heard a lot of players do prefer. I think Terran players said that they preferred to fight against Protoss players, and Zerg players said they prefer to fight against Terran players. I think that actually may also have to do a little bit with the meta right now. A lot of Zerg players feeling a little bit more comfortable in the matchup, from what I understand. So we'll see if that factors in, if Disco Stew is feeling pretty comfortable, and if our Barcode random player, who, again, plays random, so that also does go to say, like, okay, there's a lot of types of random players out there, right? There's some of the random players that kind of go really cheesy all the time. I know that's what everyone expects when they hit a random player on the ladder. They're just like, oh my god, I have to be careful. This guy's just gonna like 6-pool me because he got Zerg. That's probably why, because nobody could ever get good or random just playing like standard. But then there's a lot of the players that they have one build that they do every single matchup. Or sorry, not every single matchup. Every single map? They have one build per matchup is what I'm trying to say. And they do it every single time they get into a game for that matchup. And they just go with it. So we'll see if that's kind of the case for this random player, or if he does decide to, you know, maybe do something a little bit wonkier. If it's not just kind of standard play coming out of 440. I'm just going to call him 440 because I don't want to keep saying Barcode Zerg player. 440 is a nice name. But regardless, we have, again, the gas guys are opening, but actually no Reaper popping out immediately. In fact, we just have a couple of Marines being thrown down. And actually, I think we may be seeing a... Oh, no. I was thinking we were going to be seeing a factory, but we are seeing a reactor pop out from Disco Stew, going for the full wall off. Very, very interesting. I guess he's going to be going for maybe some sort of reactor expand then. And yeah, the SCV is now moving down over here to build that command center. Of course, if you go for the earlier reactor, you're not going to be making a lot of Marines for a while. It does allow you to build up that Marine count, or sorry, that mineral account. And you do decide, like, am I just going to build up another barracks or two, or am I going to go for the expansion? And I don't really know why you would go for the extra barracks. Maybe there is a one reactor, like, 2 extra barracks, just make Marines and go build, but I'm not too familiar with it. At the same time, we take a look at what 440 is up to. He's gone out his Zergans. He's done a pretty good job scouting around the bottom left and bottom right hand, or top right hand quarters of the map, but he's going to be unluckily scouting out the last position, the correct position last. I'm going to be finding out, oh, my opponent's going for this expansion, and I've opened up with a fast Zerg speed. Can I make a whole lot happen with it? It's actually very possible, because it's hard to get this full wall off done over here. This is kind of like Daedalus Point walling off, I would say. This is a really, really big wall off to try and do. And these Zergans could try and move in if there were in higher numbers, but they're really not just yet, and it doesn't look like there's any more on the way. There are 6 Zergans out on the map, but he's actually using 1 Zergling per Xel'Naga Watchtower, not really deciding to move them away either. And just seeing this, he pretty much knows, okay, you're going for a natural expansion. Unless this is like the greatest psych out of all time, where he builds a bunker even and then salvages it and is like, guess what? I was actually going for a 1 base all in. And you bet you thought that I was going for some kind of macro play, but no, Zergans do confirm. Expansion is going up, orbital command being weighed, and single Zergan actually even managed to get out of there. Nice played. Well played by 440. But we'll take a look at what 440 is up to after this. Looks like just droning up and taking that 3rd expansion. Oh my god, wait. 3rd expansion being taken. Weren't there rocks on this map? I could have sworn there were rocks on this map. Maybe this is the version of the map that doesn't have the rocks. I know that at some point, there was a 3rd expansion that could only be taken if you killed off the destructible rocks on this map. So some players would try and take this 3rd expansion and be cheeky about it, but then they would have the hardest time in the world defending it, because this is the ground path you'd have to take to defend your 3rd expansion. This was the most annoying ground path in the world to take. Luckily for these players, they don't have to deal with that. I guess they get away with it this time. I'll get over it. But Devil Evolution Chamber is being thrown down for 440. Looks like he's just really gearing up for the macro play. And honestly, same thing out of Disco Stew. Although he is getting out Hellions. Hellions going to be able to put on some pressure. It does have a Tech Lab also going down. So probably going to be going for some of that Banshee play as a follow-up pressure. Has a 3rd expansion finished up as well. And all in all, it looks like this is going to be a fairly standard looking game. Although, I will say, and this is just something that like you tend to see just because, you know, gold level, silver, or like gold level, platinum league players, etc., even diamond league players, not quite as refined play as maybe like the tip top master players or grandmaster, or even like pro players like Innovation, Jaedong, etc. So Timing's maybe a little bit slightly delayed sometimes, and we'll end up seeing the Hellions moving out across the map. Of course, I really like the great map vision that 440's been able to seize up with these Zerglings, and that's really going to give them a nice little bit of vision to say, okay, the Xel'Naga watchtowers, seeing the Hellions, I need to prepare for those. He already has the Evolution Chamber wall off pretty much going up, but now he can move his Zerglings into position. He wants to make sure that those Zerglings are in a nice position to maybe intercept those Hellions. The Hellions going to be trying to clear up some of that creep spread, I imagine, but look at this. Great creep spread over here from 440. Already gotten it out very far on the map. It's going to take more than just 1 or 2 scans to try and take out all those creep tumors. But now the Hellions moving to the 3rd expansion. Gonna have to be very careful. Speed was finished up very early on in the game, and actually a lot of these Hellions get surrounded. Every single one of the Hellions gets surrounded, and boom, those Hellions accomplished basically nothing except for the fact that they scattered out the 3rd expansion and maybe roasted a couple of Zerglings. 4 Zerglings have gone down, and that's including the 2 Zerglings that were taking out the Xel'Naga watchtower. So a great play and a really great, I guess, kind of advantage that our Barcode Zerg player has already seized in this game. I do want to give a shout out over to Trans Zeus Stand in the chat. Nice to have you, man. Cheering for the Terran player. Disco Stew now getting up a couple more of those Hellions. We'll see what he's up to now. And oh my god, we have more than 1 factory out on the map. We have 2 factories now out. Plus 1 vehicle weapon, vehicle ship plating being researched. And oh my god, we're going to be seeing mech play on Tal'Darim Altar. This is something. Tal'Darim Altar of all maps, I feel like would be the worst map to go for mech on, but you know what? I have faith in Disco Stew. I like mech play. This could very well work out. Spire going up at the same time on the other side of the map for 440. We'll see how many Mutals he can get up, and something that I will say mech play can actually deal with relatively well are actually Mutalisks once you get into the later stages of the game and you start getting up the Thors, and if you get up the Widow Mines. Of course, unfortunately, he is a little bit supply blocked. Supply blocked for just a little bit. Still needs to get up another supply depot to unblock this Thor, but he is going to be able to get up that Thor eventually, and once the Thor pops out, the Mutals have a much harder time these days dealing with doing the harassment that they would normally do. And that's one kind of nice advantage about the meching player. They don't have to be running and stimming their Marines everywhere. They kind of just split up a Thor or 2 in each one of their bases, and boom, it becomes really, really difficult to do a whole lot of damage to the Mutalisks. And the big problem that our Terran player is going to be facing, though, is the fact that 440 on a map like Tal'Darim Altar, and this is what I was talking about, you can kind of just expand around and not really worry about what his opponent's doing. If his opponent goes for a big push out across the map, guess what? He goes for a big counterattack with lots of Zerglings and lots of Mutalisks, and it causes absolute hell for the Terran player, because you do not want to be base trading as a meching player. Oh my god, that's actually one of the most frustrating things in the world, because yeah, you can defend a base in that base trade, but then your opponent on a map like Tal'Darim Altar takes this expansion and this expansion. And what are you going to do? Split up your forces in half to try and take out both of those bases? It's going to be so difficult, especially against a large army of Mutalisks. The Zerg player just takes half of his entire army and kills off half of your army. And looks like the Banshee, oh my god, actually missed out some of the harassment. Maybe kill off a couple of Zerglings? Duh, no, actually 7 drones taken out, but whoa, the Hellions under attack as well. Getting fully surrounded. Blue Flame was researched, but oh, the micro not quite there to deal with those Zerglings. Speed Zerglings still very, very scary if you cannot avoid the surrounds from those Speed Zerglings. Or sorry, if you cannot avoid the surrounds, even with the Blue Flame Alien research. But Mutals now going to be popping their way in. They actually managed to take out one of those Tech Labs building. I think it was a Tech Lab. It may have been a reactor. I'm pretty sure it was a Tech Lab, though. And a nice little win over there for our Zerg player. Just halting some of that production and getting a scout off. Most importantly, he gets a scout off to see, oh my god, you're going for mech. What do I do now? And I think that, you know, small other kind of things could have been telling him that. The fact that there was Blue Flame out, the fact that there were still Hellions being produced. And it looks like the answer is going to be more Mutalisks, more Zerglings, and Burrow actually coming out. Burrow play, gonna be a really, really beautiful thing, especially with the Banelings in the mix. I would love to just see him make a ton of Banelings. And as soon as the big mech army moves out, he moves out, Banelings, Burrow Banelings right on top of these neon green lights. And boom, they just light up the entire Terran army getting decimated. Those are expensive armies to replace. Oh my god, those things are scary, and I would love to see it happen. I'm really hoping that our Barcode 440 is not going to be disappointing us. Shout out to Twitchy Stabby Dead in the chat. Good to have you back, man, for the stream. But what exactly does our Terran player feel comfortable moving out? Right now he's sitting at 140 supply, you know, sitting up pretty decently. And of course our Zerg player sitting at almost 180 supply, gonna be maxed out pretty soon. But when does our Terran player feel comfortable moving out? That's gonna be the big question, because here's the thing. As a Terran player with the mech army, you need to have enough army or enough units back at home to defend your third, to defend your natural, and potentially your main to a big Mutalisk push out, or I should say Mutalisk harassment, at the same time that you move out across the map. Because here's the thing. The Mutalisk can scout out this push coming, go for the harassment, kill off this stuff in the natural expansion, and come back home in time to defend. So if you don't have units back at home to defend, missile turrets, they're nice, but even the Zerglings could go back and just sacrifice themselves to take out the third expansion of the natural expansion. I mean, honestly, if they lose their lives, cool, you reproduce those before anything else happens. But oh, the Burrow Banelings do get scanned, but a lot of them actually exploding on top of the Hellions. More Banelings now moving in, a decent kind of maneuver around the Banelings, but oh, does he realize it? Does he realize it? He's not going to be moving over the Burrow Banelings. The Burrow Banelings realize that they're going to be just going and for it. They explode on top of all the Thors, only 4 Hellbats and a single Marine left over. Not exactly the most cost-effective trades, I will say, from 440, but he is sitting on a 4-base economy. He's sitting on 80 drones. He can afford to take cost-ineffective trades, because guess what? These units over here, they were hard to reproduce. At the same time, he didn't even need the Mutalisks in the engagement. He's taking out the third expansion. He's taking out the Siege Tank. He's taking out the Hellbats. And I think that our Zerg player is going to be able to take a huge lead in this game. Dad split, says Twitchy Stabby Dead. Very true. Great split. And I will say, these are Platinum League players, basically. So, you know, not exactly, you know, Jaedong level play, but still some really, really cool play. I really love what 440 was trying to do with those burrowed Banelings. Oh man, if it almost could have worked out, but the money scan from Disco Stew trying to clean up some of those creep tumors ends up seeing the burrowed Banelings and is able to avoid those. Really, really well played by both of those players in that. And a game asking me what time zone I'm in. I'm actually in Pacific time, so it's still only 9:30 for me. Still have quite a bit of time left over in the day, but oh my god, so many Zerglings being produced over here for our Zerg player. I feel like, yeah, he's gonna be maxed out. He's gonna be a maxed out Zerg player up against a Terran player that has a very big, scary mech army, but it's only sitting at 76 supply, and he's sitting at 130 supply. This is going to be a very awkward situation. His third expansion being denied once again by the Mutalisk now coming in, taking out all the missile turrets. The Thors could get some money shots off. Oh my god. Oh, some more money shots off. Oh god. A lot of Mutalisks getting killed off over there. We can see 17 Mutalisks killed off. And honestly, most of those Mutalisks were just killed in the past couple of seconds. These are not AI players. In fact, these are actual people. These are actually platinum level players. These are not platinum level AI, as much as I would love for that to be a thing. If you could just select a league for AI players to play at, I'd love to see what GM level play was. Maybe it would just be cheating at AI. The AI actually just gets income massively, and it's just like, well, I'm just gonna do a bunch of all-ins that you just can't prepare for because you don't actually have the income, even if you are a GM level player. That would be something else. But Mutals now coming back in. I love how active 440 has been with these Mutals and just cleaning up these missile turrets. Missile turrets are honestly not enough. I would want to see some of these factories producing Widow Mines. You need to start setting up traps. Force the Zerg player to start bringing Overseers with this army. Because even with the wool, actually the missile turrets are being repaired and actually managed to take out all of these Mutals. So many Mutals have just been taken out, and honestly, he can use these Thors as missile turrets. He just repairs them. Boom. Every single Mutals just got taken out. We went from 17 Mutals killed to 36. 15 Mutals just died. For almost nothing. They killed off a couple of missile turrets. That is exactly the kind of thing that Disco Stew needed to establish the third expansion and also go for maybe a push out across the map. Is it too early? I don't know. A Zerg player is going to be able to remax, and god, that is a lot of Banelings. Disco Stew does not know about those burrowed Banelings. Oh, he's gonna be moving along the Zolnaga Watchtower path. I don't think that these burrowed banelings are gonna be coming into play. He's selecting them. He's thinking, oh man, can I use these? Should I unburrow them? Do you unburrow them? If you unburrow them, your opponent knows that you're burrowing them again. But if you don't unburrow them, you have so many banelings that are just being unused. I think that the right play is not to unburrow them. Use them as a flanking maneuver. He also has a decent number of banelings over here. He comes in with the rest of the banelings. He unburrows the banelings from the top side. He goes to the mix around, and he cleans up that army handily. The air army is going to be able to survive a little bit longer, but I mean, to what end? A single Banshee can be able to do maybe some damage, and maybe a Hunter Seeker missile could be thrown down, but oh, they're just not going to, they're actually not going to be able to catch up with these banelings. Oh, Siege Tank doing some good damage on top of those banelings with the banelings. Now moving in, they clean up the Siege Tank, they clean up the reinforcements, and they may even be able to just go after the command center. No, they go after the SCVs, now reducing the Terran player down to just 22 SCVs. The remainder of them getting cleaned off by the Zerglings. I think this may actually just well be GG. We can see a Zerg player sitting on not a whole lot of mining over the first 3 bases, but the 4th expansion is still mining heavily, and the 5th expansion is still actually mining pretty gosh darn well, with 77 drones still in the mix. He could easily transfer those over. Reinforcements coming in. 3rd expansion getting cleaned up. Well, 3rd expansion, the Zerglings are getting cleaned up by the Hellbats, but he's gonna have a hard time dealing with all of these Zerglings. I know Hellbats are good, ladies and gentlemen, but they're not that good. The Zergling Remax comes in, streaming forward, 440, looking to be, you know, oh, actually, oh my god, did we just see like 70 supply of Zerglings get massacred by Hellbats? Oh my god, +3 weapon Hellbats. Pretty damn good against Zerglings. I'm actually a little bit speechless. Okay, the worker count is the big problem for Disco Stew. That is still the big problem, but that was a lot of minerals thrown away. Granted, Disco Stew still has a 4K mineral bank, and that's on top of the 28 Beetles he just made that I don't think Disco Stew is actually prepared for. But 440. Just threw away a lot of Zerglings. Okay, we'll see if it ends up. We'll see if it can still close it out. He has the Beetles now moving across the map. The entire anti-air is 2 Vikings. Wait, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be down to 1 Viking. One of these Vikings is gonna get cleaned up. The Hunter Seeker missile possibilities are there. Hunter Seeker missile going down on top of one of the Beetles, but no, Hunter Seeker missiles are a little bit too slow. The Beetles managed to run out in time, and they're going to be able to clean up this these missile turrets. They're going to be able to clean up this planetary fortress. Another Hunter Seeker missile or 2 could end up going down. You just need to throw down all of them, man. Just go down for all of them. Oh, actually, 1 Hunter Seeker missile goes down. Another one goes down. Another one is going to be hitting all of these Beetles. Oh my god, so much damage done, but it's just not quite enough. Oh man, maybe, just maybe, if he was able to throw down 1 or 2 more Hunter Seeker missiles on top of the Beetles, if he was able to get those shots off, he may have actually been able to save that 3rd expansion. But at the same time, I guess the Zerglings are able to get the run by into the main base. Hellbats were able to clean that up, but we're down to 4 SCVs left over for our Terran player. It was a great hold. It was a great play from Disco Stew. I love the idea of going for mech, but just this map makes it so difficult to do. I think that we're going to have to call it, ladies and gentlemen. That's pretty much it. GG gets called. Disco Stew gonna be tapping out, and 440 gonna be taking the game. And this is why I love casting you guys, ladies and gentlemen. Even if you're not Jaedong, you guys still show some sweet plays that even the pros don't do very often. Burrow Banelings in mass, mech play, pro players would not put up with me telling them to play on Tal'Darim Altar. I will tell you that. I do a tournament for $1,000, or I did for season 2, and I added in 2 random maps that nobody ever played on, and most of the players I don't think played on the map ever, even before the tournament. For $1,000, they're just like, I'm just gonna ban the map. You guys put up with it. Thank you so much. And I want to give a huge shout out to everyone that's actually tuning in right now. We have Again a game. Thank you for tuning in. Alexandrium _ SC2, Caesar 05. I'm just gonna say your first name. Caesar, Disco Stew, EMN Giant Gnome, Fosta Genobot, sorry. Riser. We have Seppo Veta, Tanja84DK, who I'm pretty sure is never ever actually watching, but is probably dead and just has the stream still going. Rest in peace, Tanja84DK, that one stalker. Turkey Joe and Twitchy Stabby dead. Nice to have all of you guys in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in for this. I think we might have time for one more. Let's go ahead and do one more. All right, we might actually have a regame. All right, we're gonna have a regame, but I want you guys to remember, 440 actually plays random. So we're gonna find out how this is gonna go. It's gonna be a TVT, it seems. Okay. What is a good map for TVT? I'm trying to think. Oh! Wait, I think I know one. Is it this map? Was it this map? No, it wasn't that map. Here we go. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Bringing you maps that the Dream Pool wouldn't dare even dream of. We're gonna have a Terran versus Terran between two Platinum League players. It's gonna be once again Disco Stew versus 440. And the map is gonna be a secret until we load into the game. Hopefully you guys are as excited as I am for this one. I'm looking forward to it. If you are enjoying the stream, do please consider hitting that follow button so you will get notifications about when I do go live. I promise I pretty much only play StarCraft, or that's all I really do on the stream. Play StarCraft and cast StarCraft. Mostly just casting. But alright, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and jump into the game as the players are loaded. We're going to be spawning up here in the top right-hand corner of the map, Lost Temple. Not even Shatter Temple, ladies and gentlemen, Lost Temple. It is going to be the pink Terran player, Disco Stew. And his opponent, spawning up here in the... you know what? I didn't do that justice, alright? We're up here on Disco Stew. Over here... Just a literal stone's throw away, we have the other main base of the other player. The random Terran player, it is going to be 440. Now, of course, 440, just his clan tag, he is in fact a barcode Terran player. But, this is, in fact, a Terran versus Terran. These two players know they're playing versus another Terran player. And I thought about Terran versus Terran on Steps of War. But Steps is overdone. Lost Temple. Best map. 2005. I love this map. I don't know if you guys were like me back in Brood War, or even maybe actually, yeah, I think actually back in Warcraft 3. Lost Temple is just a tried and true classic for RTS games, actually, especially Blizzard games. It's a map that's just been around for generations and generations. It's been through a lot, and it's a classic that I feel kind of sad we don't really see much of anymore. And here's one of the things that StarCraft 2 Blizzard said, you know what, okay, this map has a lot of problems in StarCraft 2. Let's go ahead and rebalance it. We made Shatter Temple. They made Shatter Temple. But here's some of the cool things about Lost Temple that you don't get on Shatter Temple. You see over here, there is a nice little natural expansion. This is a very typical natural expansion. You have this nice little area to wall in, but there's also this nice high ground. Now I want to talk about this high ground for a second, because you can easily just medevac some siege tanks up to this high ground and drop on your opponent's natural expansion high ground. If you have air control with a Viking and a medevac and a siege tank, you actually can just murder your opponent's natural expansion. They actually just can't mine from there for a while. It's the most frustrating thing in the world to deal with. We had players back in the Wings of Liberty beta on this map going for cannon rushes with a warp prism up on the high ground to deny mining at the natural expansion, because if you planted a cannon right over here, it would actually reach that mineral line, and it would actually be able to kill off, I think it would actually reach the actual expansion, but I'm not sure. It's always been a little bit hard to say. But we'll see how these players end up opening this up. Again, on the older maps, we're seeing Disco Stew go for the faster starport play. In the meanwhile, we have a Reaper opening. Oh my god, there's actually no units out for Disco Stew. Just 2 Marines, and these 2 Marines could easily be killed off by the single Reaper. Single Reaper actually not getting the first shots off, though. And oh, actually, it ends up going down. I was going to say it could easily get killed and kill off those 2 Marines, but you do need to micro back, regenerate that health. The 3rd Marine also pops out, and Disco Stew taking a nice little lead. But of course, the Reaper did get the vital scout out on what his opponent was doing. He saw the factory. He knows, oh man, it's going to be a fast tick up to starport and probably to Banshees. It could be a Raven opening, but after seeing that your opponent has gone for the earlier Reaper, and of course also seeing, okay, this is what my opponent's sort of up to. We have an early, or like a sort of later gas are going down. It wasn't like a gas first or anything like that. You can probably suspect, okay, my opponent probably doesn't have a super fast factory or anything of the sort. So probably going for an expansion or just adding on extra barracks. Well, actually, you know, I was saying probably going to be going for the Banshee play, but you know, now that I think about it, he knows where his opponent is. This is the drop distance. This is quite literally the drop distance. Why wouldn't you just go for it? It's actually more inconvenient to go for the big pushing at the front, because you have to walk your units all the way across to this side of the map. Why not just do a little bit of Hellion push? Hellion pressure. I love this micro coming out from both these players. The Hellion moving back and forth and kind of just being harassing or very annoying to these Marines. But also, not a single one of these Marines has gone down. All 3 of them gonna be, or all 4 of them I should say, gonna be surviving. So some really great micro coming out in the early stages of this game. But oh, money scan thrown down, seeing that it was in fact a medevac drop. He's gonna be able to position his units in position into the right place, but to what end? What units are here to defend? There's actually just 4 half-dead Marines, 3 half-dead Marines, and the single doctor that, I don't know, was also shot in like the finger, losing his right pinky. And that pinky is important to fire those Marine shots, because he's going to be losing his lives very, very quickly. But these Hellions going to be adding in a lot of extra DPS. Hellions coming in from Disco Stew, though. He managed to clean up all of the Marines, and actually both the Hellions also get taken out. GG while play gets called. Disco Stew evening up the series 1-1, and I think that actually may be it. I say 1-1, but I think that actually was it, because Disco Stew did say that was the last game. So thank you so much to Disco Stew and 440 for showing us a fantastic series. So big shout out to Disco Stew and our barcode random player from the clan 440. It was great to have you guys. And guys, I think that's actually probably going to do it for today's stream. So thank you everyone that actually decided to tune in. I am actually just going to be using this as an opportunity to... So here's the thing. My mentality is, I have Twitch partner, but I really am not a big fan of ads myself. So I don't never want to be running ads during the actual broadcast. I am going to be running ads after the broadcast, and that's going to be kind of my thing. I'm just going to run, you know, maybe like 3 minutes of ads after the broadcast and then turn off the stream. So if you do decide to stick around, that would be great. I would be really grateful for that. Really, I don't have a lot of viewers. That's just kind of an honest thing, but you know, it does kind of allow me to get a bit of an idea of, okay, well, when I do start to do more of the events and we're back into event season and I'm casting stuff with maybe like 100 or so viewers on my channel, that's when I kind of get a good idea of like how much money I would actually be making off of ad revenue. So for everyone that does decide to stick around for the next 3 minutes, I'm just straight up going to be running ads and listening to youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek. So thank you everyone that played. We had Disco Stew and of course everyone that Disco Stew 440 playing that final series, and of course a couple others that were playing earlier on. But big shout out to everyone that was also tuning in. We had Alexandrium, ST2, Caesar, Disco Stew, Fosta, Genobot, Riser, Sepavetta, Tanja84DK, who wasn't actually watching, I think, but is still in the chat there in spirit, Turkey Joe, and Twitchy Stabby Dad, as well as everyone else that was actually here around here earlier. I think also we had Stone Spider, one of the viewers from earlier on in the stream. And thank you, Twitchy Stabby Death, for saying I think my casting is getting better. I'm not sure what it is either. I think sometimes I will say also I do like breaking out, and it's a very time-consuming thing in a lot of ways that aren't actually related to casting or StarCraft. It's kind of frustrating. Like, there's a lot of like editing and like organizational stuff that goes on, and it sounds sort of weird, but it takes a lot away from me to be able to just cast, which is kind of the part that I enjoy the most. So I'm glad to finally be kind of like done with the season of Breaking Out, because I just get to cast a little bit more. It's the stuff that I really enjoy. But anyways, guys, I'm going to be running those commercials. Thank you everyone who tuned in. Hope to see you guys for another stream in the future. And I do appreciate everyone that does decide to stick around. Let me just make sure I'm not going to be throwing commercials over myself. I actually have no idea how many minutes it's been. I thought I had something that said when I last played a commercial. I think? Let me see, actually. How do people do commercials? Do they just like look at the time and see? I'm about to find out. If you're watching this, you're either watching a VOD or you have ad block on, or you have Twitch Turbo, in which case, salutations. Okay, I'm gonna assume that's done. Thank you everyone that tuned in. Have a wonderful night. And I'll probably see you guys again later this week if you decide to tune in. Check out youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek.